Kevin Costner's story is often told as a Hollywood rise and fall narrative, but that framing misses the deeper pattern underneath it. A life repeatedly shaped by conviction that borders on refusal to compromise. Across 4 decades, he has been celebrated as a defining American leading man, criticized as overly ambitious, and scrutinized for the personal cost of his creative choices. What makes his career unusual is not just the scale of his success or the visibility of his setbacks, but the consistency of his behavior across both. He has tended to commit fully to projects others considered too risky, too slow, or too expensive, and then absorb the consequences without retreating from that instinct. Born in 1955 in Linwood, California, Costner did not begin in the orbit of Hollywood privilege. His upbringing moved through multiple towns, multiple schools, and a constant reset of social identity. That instability produced a habit of observation that later became central to his screen presence. He learned early to watch before acting, to understand environments before trying to belong to them. As his career unfolded, that same instinct translated into a performance style defined by restraint and internal certainty. His journey is not just about fame gained and lost, but about the tension between ambition and cost. Each stage of success carried an invisible counterweight, and each collapse revealed how tightly those two forces were bound together. The restless childhood and learning to observe Costner's childhood was shaped by movement. His father worked for Southern California Edison, and the family relocated frequently across California towns including Compton, Visalia, and Villa Park. There was no stable community long enough to fully anchor identity, which meant each new school required rapid adaptation. For a child, this creates a specific kind of intelligence, social awareness built not from belonging, but from necessity. He later described himself as the new kid, repeatedly, a position that forces attentiveness rather than confidence. Instead of entering rooms expecting recognition, he learned to read them first. Who held influence, who remained invisible, how groups formed invisible boundaries, these became instinctive observations. This skill would later translate directly into acting, where understanding subtext matters as much as dialogue. At home, discipline and work ethic were emphasized by his father, while his mother provided emotional steadiness within a constantly shifting environment. Sports, particularly swimming, offered structure and competition. Writing and music introduced early creative outlets, though not yet as career ambitions. Church choirs and school performances became early stages where he tested expression without fully naming it as performance. By adolescence, the pattern was set. Watch carefully, adapt quickly, and internalize experience rather than announce it. That internalization would become the foundation of his acting style decades later. Education, early jobs, and the pull toward acting. Costner attended California State University, Fullerton, where he studied business administration, partly out of practicality and partly due to uncertainty about pursuing the arts seriously. Like many aspiring actors, he did not initially announce ambition so much as circle around it. Acting classes began as side exploration rather than commitment, a parallel life running alongside more conventional expectations. After graduating in 1978, he briefly pursued stability through ordinary work. He held jobs that included truck driving and manual labor, roles that provided income but not identity. At the same time, auditions and small roles began to accumulate, though without significant recognition. Early appearances in films were minimal, often forgettable, and did not yet suggest stardom. The turning point was not immediate success but persistence through invisibility. Rejection became routine rather than exceptional. One of the most significant early setbacks came when his scenes in The Big Chill were cut almost entirely, leaving only fragments of his presence in the final film. For many, such an experience signals the end of a path. For Costner, it functioned more as confirmation that the industry was indifferent rather than definitive. He continued forward with increasing commitment, gradually shifting from trying acting to trucing acting. That internal decision marked the beginning of everything that followed. Breakthrough and the arrival of a leading man. Costner's breakthrough came in the mid-1980s with Silverado, which placed him among an ensemble of established actors and allowed him to demonstrate presence without carrying the entire film. What stood out was not flamboyance, but steadiness. He projected a calm authority that directors and audiences noticed immediately. This led to The Untouchables, 1987, where he starred opposite Sean Connery and Robert De Niro. Rather than being overshadowed, he anchored the narrative with a grounded moral center. The role of Eliot Ness suited his restrained style, reinforcing his emerging identity as a modern Western archetype transplanted into crime drama. In Bull Durham, 1988, he shifted tone entirely, embracing humor, imperfection, and emotional nuance. The film became a defining sports romance, and his performance revealed range beyond stoic seriousness. Then came Field of Dreams, 1989, which cemented his cultural position. The film's blend of fantasy and emotional sincerity resonated widely, and his performance turned simplicity into mythic clarity. By the end of the decade, Costner was not just successful, he was emblematic of a specific kind of American cinematic ideal: understated, moral, and quietly resolute. Field of Dreams, Dances with Wolves, and the peak of authority. The early 1990s marked the apex of Costner's influence. Dances with Wolves, 1990, which he directed and starred in, represented both artistic risk and personal investment. Studios were skeptical of its length, language choices, and historical focus, yet Costner committed fully, including financial risk. The film's success was extraordinary. It won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. More importantly, it redefined expectations for what a large-scale Western could be in modern cinema. Costner had transitioned from actor to auteur in a single leap, gaining authority that few performers achieve. At the same time, The Bodyguard, 1992, expanded his global reach, pairing him with Whitney Houston in a film whose soundtrack became a cultural phenomenon. He was now operating at multiple levels of stardom simultaneously: critical acclaim, box office dominance, and international recognition. Yet even at this peak, the underlying pattern remained unchanged. His commitment to projects was total, often absorbing enormous time and attention. That intensity, while fueling success, also began to strain the boundaries of his personal life, setting up tensions that would surface more visibly in the years ahead. Waterworld and the weight of excess ambition. Waterworld, 1995, became one of the most discussed productions of its era, not only because of its scale, but because of the narrative built around it. The film's production challenges, weather issues, escalating costs, and logistical complications became public spectacle. Originally budgeted at a high figure for its time, it eventually expanded significantly, drawing media scrutiny and skepticism. Costner, serving as both lead actor and producer, became central to that narrative. The project was framed as emblematic of Hollywood excess, even before its release. While the final film was not the complete commercial failure many predicted, its reputation was shaped as much by perception as by performance. The broader impact was reputational, rather than purely financial. In Hollywood culture, narrative often outweighs nuance, and Waterworld became shorthand for overreach. Costner absorbed that label without publicly rejecting it in dramatic fashion. Instead, he continued working, though in a shifting industry perception that now viewed him with more caution than awe. The experience marked a transition point, from unchallenged leading man to polarizing figure associated with risk, The Postman and the Backlash years. In 1997, Costner directed and starred in The Postman, another ambitious, post-apocalyptic story centered on themes of hope and reconstruction. Like Waterworld, it was expansive in scope and deeply earnest in tone. However, by this point, critical and audience expectations had shifted significantly. The film was widely criticized and underperformed commercially, reinforcing the narrative that Costner's directorial ambitions were disconnected from audience appetite. Awards season recognition leaned negative, and the film became part of a broader perception of decline. What is often overlooked is that his artistic approach had not fundamentally changed. The difference was contextual. The industry and audience environment had moved toward faster pacing and different storytelling sensibilities. Costner's style, deliberate, expansive, emotionally direct, was increasingly out of step with prevailing trends. Rather than abandoning that approach, he adjusted by reducing scale and focusing more on acting roles in smaller productions. This period was less about disappearance and more about recalibration, though it was frequently interpreted externally as a downturn. marriage, loss, and private consequences. Costner's first marriage to Cindy Silva began long before fame fully arrived. They met in college and built a life during years of uncertainty, long before success insulated him from instability. Silva was present during the foundational period of his career, including years of financial strain and professional rejection. As his career expanded in the late 1980s and early 1990s, the demands of filmmaking increasingly consumed his time and attention. Long shoots, travel, and creative immersion gradually altered the structure of family life. By the time Dances with Wolves reached its peak success, the imbalance had already taken shape. Their divorce in 1994 marked the end of a 16-year marriage. The financial settlement was significant, but the deeper consequence was relational rather than economic. Costner has acknowledged in later reflections that his focus on work often came at the expense of presence at home. The timing, coinciding with professional turbulence, intensified public attention. Yet beneath headlines, the underlying reality was simpler. Sustained absence, even when driven by ambition rather than neglect, reshapes relationships beyond repair over time. Reinvention, through simplicity and persistence. Following the turbulence of the 1990s, Costner did not retreat from acting, but shifted toward a more measured career rhythm. Films like Open Range 2003 reflected a return to Western themes, though with a more grounded, reflective tone. Other roles in Mr. Brooks and smaller dramas demonstrated range and continued craft development. Outside of film, he explored music with his band, performing with a focus on enjoyment rather than industry validation. This period was less about dominance and more about continuity, maintaining creative engagement without the pressure of defining cultural moments. He also rebuilt aspects of his personal life, eventually marrying Christine Baumgartner in 2004. The relationship appeared stable and centered around family life, with children and a more private domestic structure. For a time, this phase suggested equilibrium after earlier volatility. However, the underlying trait remained unchanged: deep immersion in creative work whenever a major project took hold. This characteristic would again become central when television presented an unexpected second peak in his career: Yellowstone, Horizon, and the ongoing pattern of commitment. The arrival of Yellowstone in 2018 marked an unexpected resurgence. As John Dutton, Costner returned to a dominant cultural position, this time through television rather than film. The series became a major hit, reaching large audiences and re-establishing him as a central figure in American entertainment. At the same time, he was developing Horizon, an ambitious multi-part Western film project that he intended to direct, finance, and star in. The scale of the project required substantial personal investment and scheduling complexity. Balancing it with Yellowstone created friction and ultimately led to his departure from the series in 2023. That same year, his marriage to Baumgartner ended in divorce proceedings, drawing significant public attention. The overlap of professional transition, financial exposure, and personal change echoed earlier patterns in his life, reinforcing the recurring theme of simultaneous peaks and disruptions. Costner's response remained consistent with his history: continued commitment to his long-form creative vision, even amid uncertainty. Horizon reflects both his enduring ambition and the risks inherent in sustaining large-scale artistic projects over decades. Conclusion: the cost of building and believing. Kevin Costner's life does not resolve neatly into success or failure. It operates instead as a continuous negotiation between belief and consequence. Across decades, he has repeatedly chosen projects defined by scale, patience, and emotional sincerity, even when those choices carried financial or reputational risk. What emerges from his career is not simply the story of a Hollywood star, but of a creative temperament that resists moderation. That temperament produced some of the most recognizable films of its era, and also some of its most scrutinized productions. It shaped his personal relationships just as strongly as his professional ones, often demanding the same total attention that made his performances compelling. By the later stages of his career, success no longer resembled a rival so much as endurance. Fame came and went in cycles, but the underlying pattern remained consistent: build, commit, absorb consequence, and continue. If there is a through line, it is not redemption or downfall, but persistence. Costner's legacy is defined less by any single outcome than by the repeated decision to invest fully in whatever he believes is worth building, regardless of whether the world agrees at the time.